Does it matter which realtor you use? Of course it does. Not everyone is built the same. Not everyone runs their business the same. And a lot of realtors might not even do this full time or do as much as someone else. And you might feel like it's too busy for you. For instance, I've got a friend who's a doctor. He's a dentist. I'm not going to ask him to do open heart surgery on me. If you want to get even more hyper-focused, if let's say you have a knee replacement, you're probably going to interview a couple of different doctors and get different opinions on what you need to do. Is it surgery? What kind of rehab are you going to have to conduct? And you should do the same thing when it comes to your real estate agent. I know we're talking about open heart surgery here and knee replacements. However, we are talking about one of the largest financial purchases you may ever make. And just going with somebody with a license can be quite reckless and dangerous with such a large asset. So you really need to look into who is a great fit for you and can get the job done for your goals. How do I find the best real estate agent for me? I think, one, you need to talk to your network in your community. Talk to your friends, your family. Who have they used? Who have they had really good experiences with? If people are willing to refer someone and put their name a little bit on it, then they must feel very confident that their agent can get the job done. So I think that's probably the main one. The second would be obviously look online. If you get a referral from somebody, then you want to also do some additional digging. Look online. Do they have certain 5-star reviews? Do they have lower 5-star reviews? And look into those. And then also from there, I think it's very important to interview agents. And I think you have to ask that agent questions. And after asking that agent questions, if you're not 100% certain or happy, then I think it's important you get multiple opinions. So that's how I would find my agent. Talk to your friends, family, look at online reviews, make sure they have a presence, and then ask them questions. Do realtors look for houses for you? Of course they're supposed to, but it's a little bit different than it used to be 20-something years ago. Now with Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, those third-party sites that pull from the MLS data that us agents put the information into, sometimes those sites can be a little bit delayed, have incorrect information that's it's pulling. But another very important thing that your agent's going to be doing for your search is being in the know between other agents in their office, amongst agents that they have worked cross sales with, and then just talking to the community out and about in specific areas, neighborhoods that you're looking into, and they can really dive in a bit and do a little bit more than just looking for properties online. Do you have to pay a realtor to see houses? No, not necessarily. But what you will have to have at least signed is an agreement now that does state that if within that certain amount of time that you've agreed upon, if you do get under contract on a property and close on that property, then you will owe a commission to that real estate agent. However, how things are typically negotiated, at least here in Louisville, Kentucky, what the agents are attempting to do is negotiate that the sellers would cover that commission for the buyer so that the buyer can focus on the down payment and closing costs that they're going to have to occur at the closing of the transaction. So what our goal as agents are when working with you as the buyer is to make sure that the sellers actually compensate us instead of you having to compensate your agent at closing. Is it better to buy a house with a realtor or not? I'm going to say typically the answer is yes. But the reason I say typically is because not always. An agent that tells you that every single time an agent needs to be involved, I think they'd be misguiding and misleading you. There are scenarios where maybe it's a family to family or a family to friend and things just kind of work out that maybe you don't need an agent involved because maybe the seller's okay with giving the buyer such a great deal. That deal can offset the risk the buyer is getting ready and willing to take on without using an agent. However, I will say, even if you have a family to friend kind of scenario, I have had plenty of friends and past clients that didn't utilize my services, and they had big problems after closing on the property a year or so later. And I hated to hear about that. Real estate agents aren't just for writing a contract. It's not about just getting a contract and filling in the blanks. It's about where to look, what questions to ask, how to solve these problems before they ever happen, how to negotiate these things. And we're also able to be a middle person in between a buyer and seller, even if they know each other, to make sure that things are being done appropriately and fairly to one side or the other. So absolutely, I would say a vast majority of the time, you should be using a real estate agent, even if you've already found your house.